Hi Reagan, today we are on chapter 6, lesson 8. I hope you're having a fabulous day. Mrs. Wiley's presentation might look a little bit different today. I'm having some trouble opening up those slides that I typically use, but today it's just going to look like your textbook that you have in front of you. So yeah, just follow along as you watch this lesson. So today we're doing multiplication properties. Let's look at our first problem. It says example 1, we have this nice little soccer ball that says goal. A coach has 16 players in each of the two groups. Each player scores 5 goals. Find the number of goals scored. Okay, so there are a few things that we can highlight in our word problem so we know what we are multiplying together. We have 16 players, 2 groups, and how many goals did they score again? They each scored 5 goals. That must be some all-star team right there. So we're going to end up multiplying all of these numbers together. Whoops. So it says find, we have parentheses 16 times 2, end parentheses times 5. Remember, in our order of operations, or please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, the acronym that we use, we always do parentheses first. So we are going to multiply 16 times 2 first, and then we are going to multiply 5 together. So we're going to bring down our 16. If Mrs. Bliley can figure out how to use this, please be patient with me, sorry. So we're going to bring down our 16. We're going to multiply 2 times 5 together. Okay, so let me backtrack a little bit. They have 16 times 2 in parentheses first. What they're doing is they're changing the parentheses for the easier outcome, or what would be simpler. So it's simpler to multiply 2 times 5 because we get 10, which makes it simpler for us. So you do not always have to start out as they show you in the problem. You can switch it to make it easier for yourself because evidently when you multiply numbers together, does it matter the order that you multiply them together? No, it does not matter. So do what works best for you and what is easier and simpler for you as well. So in this case, they brought down the 16. They changed our parentheses to multiply 2 times 5 first. 2 times 5, count by 5, 2 times 5, 10. And then we can multiply 16 times 10 together. Remember, when we have a 0, we have 1 0. We can just put it at the end of our number, so our answer is 160. Or you could count 16 10 times, whatever works for you. They scored 160 goals. Wow, they are fancy. Let's look at our next page. We have example 2. So first I showed it with you in whole numbers, and now we've been working on decimals this unit, so they are switching to decimals. So we're going to use the commutative property of multiplication. This shows that order in which factors are multiplied does not change, just like I talked about. So it does not matter what order you multiply them in, just as long as you multiply all of your numbers together. It says find the unknown. In the equation, we have 35 and 5/10 times question mark equals 17 times 35 and 5/10. What is the unknown? So just by looking at this, we can see that there is a 17 on this side, so clearly there is missing a 17. 17 is our unknown. What number is missing? We have a 17 over here, but not a 17 over here, and it is split by the equal sign. Let's look at example 3. We're using identity property. This states that the product of any factor and 1 equals the factor. So we have 17 times what is 17? Remember, identity property always works with ones. 17 times 1 gives me 17. The unknown is 1. Okay, so the next one, we're just going to match up our properties. So first of all, you can start with this one, or you can start with this side, whatever you would like to do. I'm going to do 6 and 2 tenths times 100 equals 100 times 6 and 2 tenths. The order does not matter, so that means it is commutative. Think about your community. It does not matter what order your neighbors live in. You are all a community, commutative property. Number 2, we have those parentheses again. Whenever there's parentheses, it is associative. And last 3, we have 78 and 56 hundredths times 1 equals 78 and 56 hundredths. It has a 1 in it. It is identity property. That's just a little review. Let's go to the next page. I'm going to do a few with you and then I will assign some for independent practice. Let's look at our directions first. Use properties of multiplication to find each product mentally. Show your steps and identify the properties that you use. Okay, so first let's identify the property. We have a 5 and 1/10 times 2 times 50. So I see some parentheses in here. So we know that we can multiply these three digits together. What would be easier for us? Mrs. Bliley's actually going to change where the parentheses is because I think it would be easier to do 2 times 50 and then multiply by 5 and 1/10. So 2 times 50, 52 times. We could think about 2 quarters, and 2 quarters would give me $1, or we could count by 50s. 50, 100. So 2 times 50 gives me 100. I can bring down my 5 and 1/10 and multiply them together. Now, using the previous lessons that we've learned, we know that if we have 2 zeros, I'm moving my decimal 2 times. So I'm going to take my decimal and I'm going to move it 2 times to the right. 1, 2. I have a space, so I'm going to put a 0 in. My answer for number 4 is 510. Mrs. Wiley is going to do one more with you, and then I will give you the rest for independent practice. So we have 4 times parentheses 2 and 5/10 times 6 and parentheses. So what should we multiply together first? What would be easiest for us? Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to change the parentheses. We're going to multiply 4 times 2.5 first. And if we do, okay, so think about it, 2.5. If we have 2.5 plus 2.5 is 5. 5 plus 5 is 10. So 10 times, we're going to bring down my 6. 10 times 6 equals 60 as my answer. So for this lesson today, you're using commutative, associative, and identity property to make it easier for you and to figure out ways that you can group numbers together when multiplying, to do it mentally in your head, or to make it easier on yourself. I would like you to do numbers 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11 on this page. For 8 through 11, you are circling the property that you think it represents, or the property that is being used in the equation. If you need to rewatch this video, please do so, or look back in your notes to find the definition to help you out. Have a fabulous day. Please come to our live session at 11:30 to 12:30 so I can help you with any additional questions. Have a great day.